All right, you know who my next guest is, the Jamaican Sensation, Ode Osbourne, and you can see him fight next on July the 17th at UFC Vegas 31 when he meets Amir Albazi. Ode, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm really excited to see you back in the cage. Your first UFC win, last time out. How has this camp been, and how are you feeling leading up to the big night?
It's been good. Much better now that school is up and I get to really dedicate and focus all my time and energy. But it's been really good. I'm just kind of scaling up, moving on up, man. I feel great.
Who have been some of the main guys you're getting you working with this camp? Has it been pretty much business as usual, or has it changed up at all?
It's been just business as usual, man. I have obviously this UFC fighter Montel Jackson and stuff like that I get to work with and a couple other guys, but business as usual. Just every um I learned something from everybody. I can learn from anyone. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's a UFC fighter I'm fighting at the gym or a white belt. I could learn something, not necessarily if from that white belt, but something that I can do. You know what I'm saying? Different, or I could put myself in a position. So there's always ways to learn.
So now that school is done, has that just given you more of an opportunity to dive right into training to just get better as an athlete?
Definitely, 100%. Now I can do, those extra classes. I literally just got done actually doing a class at, jujitsu right now. So it gives me more time to do those extra classes in the daytime and really um, work my way up, kind of scale up. Because when you only have a certain time frame to work stuff, sometimes you gotta have to like cram, like for studying for a test. But now I get to really take my time.
That's great to hear. Now, the big news that I asked you about before we went live here, because I just wanted to make sure it was accurate. You're going down to flyweight, 125 pounds. What went behind that decision, and how difficult has it been to kind of keep your weight down in order to stay in that range to make 125?
It hasn't been difficult. Typically, I probably walk around at like 145. So not dieting or anything. It's normal 120, 145. So my weight's been good. I've been yesterday I was like 139. You know, so it's not difficult at all. What made me make this decision was just the fact that 35 has become so stacked. You know what I'm saying? And it just thinking of it in long terms, like I'll be 30, in January, which is not it's not old. I'll be peaking at 30, but it's gonna take a lot longer, to get a run going at 35 than it would at 25. It's a much shorter of a time frame because there's less guys and division is wide open for the taking.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you feel like your skill set, your strength, your size will translate to flyweight? Do you feel like you're going to be able to hold an advantage going down this weight classes against the upper echelon of the division?
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter what I think really, but I feel that I am the best. I feel that I'm the best 125 pounder. But once again, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what I can show. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to show that I'm the best.
What did you think of UFC 263 and the outcome of Moreno and Figueiredo? I got to admit, man, I wanted Moreno to win, but I thought Figueiredo was going to get it done, and Moreno just went in there and outclassed him and took the belt. Were you surprised?
No, I thought that he was gonna win for sure. I called that. I posted it on my Instagram actually that he was gonna win. And how do you not like Moreno, man? He's just a hard working. He's a stud, man. I like him a lot. You can't not like him. Just a nice guy.
How do you feel you stack up with the champ right now? Like if you go in and you get a couple wins, in your first couple fights at the weight class, you get that shot. How do you feel like you do against the current champ?
I mean, we'll talk about that when the time comes. We'll talk about that when the time comes. Right now, I'm just gonna focus on Albazi.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let's talk about these last couple fights because as I was saying, it's been a minute since I've talked to you. Dana White Contender Series was the last time we talked, so it was right after that performance right there. UFC 246, the big Conor McGregor Cerrone card. That's where you made your UFC debut. Unfortunately, it didn't go your way. I just want to know what you learned from that loss to Kelleher and how it's made you a better fighter moving forward.
That's a great question, actually. I learned that loss when it slingshotted me. Actually, really, oh, man, it changed the game for me because it was the win on Contender Series that got my ego, going. You know what I'm saying? And then I was just like, oh man, this is great, and I was just like absorbing, taking everything in. Like, yeah, I made it. You know what I mean? Just so excited. I got the UFC. That's the problem. Now, having that loss, I had to refocus on who I was before the Contender Series, remembering my why and putting my ego to rest, and just kind of um doing what I normally do, and just being focused and not getting staying grounded is the biggest thing. You know what I'm saying? Staying grounded is the biggest thing because I think your your ego will be the death of you, and the pressure and the belt and the money and fame and stuff like that will snap you like a toothpick if you're not grounded. So that really grounded me really well. And coming off of that 26-second knockout, I was so just well grounded. I just kind of stayed calm, and you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, this feels right. So I would have never been able to experience that had I been on a streak. You know what I'm saying? I would have just been like so distracted by everything.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, you were on the undercard of that McGregor Cerrone event. Was it any different? Like, was it any more, difficult for your mental side to actually be fighting on the same night as a Conor McGregor card? Because it's a big deal. We all know he just does different numbers.
Yeah, it was different. And then a fight got scratched, and then I got moved to the main card. You know what I'm saying? And then that like, you know what I'm saying? I was just so like over, like I was like, man, this is amazing. I'm looking at the crowd. There's like all these famous people that I'm like, man, there's that person that pro football player, quarterback, movie stars, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm walking out. I'm like, this is great. But that's not me. I got thrown off of my focus. You know what I'm saying? So I needed that. I needed to be humbled, I guess is the word, to be able to recollect my focus.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I do want to ask you too, moving forward, you just picked up that win over Jerome Rivera. You were supposed to originally fight him in Abu Dhabi, but you withdrew, if I'm not mistaken. Why did you have to withdraw from that fight?
Well, it was out of the country, a whole bunch of stuff, getting passports, all that stuff, the issue. So it was just originally it was supposed to be in Vegas, and so they thought that they wouldn't have been able to Vegas was going to be closed down because of COVID, but Vegas wasn't closed down. It actually didn't get closed down, so they moved it last minute to Abu Dhabi, and so like I just so much stuff happened, and ended up coming back here, and I was able to get that opportunity again. Actually, it was actually a last minute opportunity. So I was like, let's do it. I've already been planning for him, so let's go.
And clearly the fight went your way. You got a quick finish there. Was that what you were expecting, or did you feel like that fight, were you planning for the fight to go a little bit longer?
No, I never plan for fights to go longer, man. I always try to finish people. I don't know in what round. I don't plan for what round or what, but I always look for finishes. That's my game. I would way rather take a whole bunch of risk and knock on wood. Something bad happens or like get like caught in a move than just fight a boring ass fight and try to like score points to win. I don't. That's not. This is fighting, man. Go out there and try to finish people. That's what I try to do.
Well, let's talk about the headliner, Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez. How do you see that fight going out? That's a featherweight fight that, a division you competed in. And it's a big one. How do you feel like that main event's going to turn out?
Man, I can say, there's people like Yair Rodriguez where, what I'm saying, he'll have a good fight and then he'll have a bad fight or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He'll show up and sometimes he'll, not. But one thing I can say about Max Holloway is that man always comes to fight. He always win, lose, or draw. That guy is somebody that you put your money on, and I see him taking it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Big fan of Max Holloway. All right, Amir Albazi, he's 14-1. He's coming off a UD win at UFC 257. Before that, he had a round one triangle choke over Malcolm Gordon. When you look at his skill set, his style, how do you feel you match up with Amir?
I feel that I'm a much more superior athlete and a much superior fighter than Amir. I don't think, to be honest, not I think Amir's a well respected, well earned, great fighter. I just don't think he is anywhere near where I am, physically, mentally, or anything.
So do you feel like this is going to be a short night? You're going to make quick work of him, get around one.
Maybe. I don't know what round. I can't tell you that. You know what I mean? It could be the third round, it could be the second round, it could be the first round, but I do believe I'm going to finish him.
And so if that does come to fruition and you get your hand raised, what's the timetable your fans can expect to see you back in the octagon? And is there an opponent that maybe you'd like? I know you're not looking past Amir, but is there someone that comes to mind if you do get an impressive win?
I would like anybody that wants to fight me. You know, anyone that wants to fight me, that's who I'll take. But the timetable, if I, you know what I mean, if everything goes well, man, I would love to fight in the next 2 weeks, you know.
Okay. I'm sure Uncle Dana would love to hear that. A couple wants to stay active. All right. Well, Ode, always a pleasure to talk to you, my man. July 17th, UFC Vegas 31. Ode Osbourne, Amir Albazi at 125 pounds. Before I let you go, man, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Just first of all, my agency, Iridium Sports Agency, they're awesome, man. They're also Brandon Moreno Sports, they're his agent as well, man. They're just amazing people. They take care of me. And thank you for doing this interview, and thank everyone else that's watching this. And follow me on Instagram, Ode Osbourne, ODE Osbourne, OSBOURNE. You know, right now it's private because these fans, I'm trying to focus on this fight, and these Amir fans be going in, so I just be setting that thing private just so I can zone in on that.